Hi, and welcome to my video about the first chapter of my book, Reflections from the Glass Ceiling. The topic is how to choose the right career workplace situation for yourself, and also some things you might do to get into that right situation. First, let me tell my story. When I graduated from college, I had a French and a math degree and a teaching certificate because my dad insisted on the teaching certificate and math degree. Anyway, I went to downtown Chicago to a recruitment firm, hoping to be able to get into business. But no sooner had I practically sat down than the recruiter said, "Honey, you have three choices. You can be a secretary, you can be a teacher, or you could be a nurse." And I said, I'm really not good at typing, and I don't like being around sick people, and I don't want to be a teacher. He said, "Those are your choices." And of course, I don't think he said honey, but the tone was very condescending, like, "Why are you bothering me?" That kind of thing. So I accepted a position as a teacher, and I really didn't want to. But before I even could start teaching, I came down with a severe case of mononucleosis, so severe that the doctor wrote a note to the school saying I couldn't teach until I was better, which was about 6 months. And then I started becoming very depressed and began having panic attacks. There might have been many reasons, but certainly not being able to pursue my dream was part of it. Anyway, one day I was in my bookstore, local bookstore, and a book caught my eye. It was similar to today's book called What Color Is Your Parachute? I bought the book, read the book, and it pointed me to a career in computers. I knew nothing about computers. They were just starting to be used in business in the early 1970s. But I went to the YMCA in downtown Chicago and took a class on hardware, learned all about the hardware, which at that time took up a huge room. And then I bought books, self-study books, and taught myself 3 computer languages. Then I sent out 100 resumes to big companies. And companies like IBM, Allstate Insurance asked to interview me. I accepted a position at a consulting firm, Arthur Anderson and Company. I was one of the first 4 women hired into the consulting division. So anyway, that's my story. One important point I want to make too is that whether you're just starting out in your career or you've been working for 20 or 30 years, you can change what you want to do over time. I certainly did. Like I said, I started out as a computer nerd and ended up doing marketing and sales and traveling all around the world. Okay, next I want to talk a little bit about being left brain or right brain. Being left brain means that you're very logical, analytical, and you like to solve problems. Being right brain means that you're intuitive, you're creative, and you like working with people to help people solve problems. So very different, but it's maybe a starting point for you if you're just starting out, trying to figure out what kind of work career would be good for you. Now, as I mentioned in my introduction video, at the end of each video, I'm going to ask 3 questions, and there are things that I'd like you to think about. And these questions today might help you choose a good career for yourself. Okay? All right. Question number 1. Are you analytical, logical, and like to solve problems? Or are you intuitive, creative, and like to work with people? As I said, this is left brain versus right brain. And depending upon your answers, for example, if you're left brain, you might like a job that works with numbers. If you're right brain, you might like a job that works with people. Okay. Question number 2. Do your career goals align with what you love to do and what you're good at? And only you can answer this question. Yes, you can talk to family and friends, and they might help you and say, we think you're really good at such and such. But only you know your heart's desire. And it's important to listen to your heart and listen to what would really make you happy and turn you on, in spite of what anybody else might say. And another thing that could help you is, you could go to a counselor. If you're in school, they have, school counselors, or you could buy that book that I talked about, What Color is Your Parachute? But in the end, you probably just have to sit back and listen to your own heart. And as I mentioned, it's okay to change your mind over time. You know how I know that I'm really doing something that is good for me and that I really love? For example, when I was writing computer programs, or now when I'm writing books, I have to force myself to stop and eat. I know that sounds ridiculous, but really, I would rather program a computer or write books now than eat. Okay, so question number 3. If you could wave a magic wand and be anybody in the world you wanted to be, who would you be? And I want you to be as specific as you can. For example, maybe you want to own a fast food restaurant in Manhattan. Or maybe you want to be CEO of a large company. And I encourage you to think high. You can always lower your goals and what you want to do. In fact, I'm having a little bit of lemon juice right now. And this is my favorite teacup. I don't know if you can read it. It says, "The sky is the limit." And it's a belief that I've had for many, many years. Of course, you also have to be somewhat practical. For example, say you want to be an artist, you love to paint, but you know that's probably not going to earn enough money for you or your family. Okay, so maybe you work in an art gallery or a museum or for a graphic art firm. There are ways where you can still be in the kind of work that you love and continue to learn. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end with 3 slides that basically talk about these 3 questions. So you can take your time and take notes, whatever you want to do. And lastly, I want to talk about the next video. In the next video, I'm going to start talking about some of the issues that many women face when they're in the workforce. We're going to be talking about what you do, how you handle them, and some suggestions. Okay, with that, I hope to see you next week. Thank you.